Thank you guys for coming to watch our stream. We're going to be talking all about the event this year, what we're doing behind the scenes. I'm going to touch on lots of topics. And Stram's going to tell you how excited he is to be the CodeLaunch evangelist and what that means.
I'm pumped.
And here he is. I met Stram because when he was with Barista Ventures, they came to CodeLaunch in 2016, and he was like, "This is cool.
Yeah.
I want to meet this Taylor guy." And then we met for beers, and now we're friends.
Yep.
And he really likes CodeLaunch and asked if he could get involved and help this year.
Yeah.
And really, no one's ever done that before, and it's always a tremendous amount of work. It is a labor of love for me and passion, but it's a lot of work. And I said, "Heck yeah. What can you do?" And he goes, "Well, I got all these ideas. I want to change CodeLaunch. I want to make it do this. I want to make it do that." And so I narrowed it down to the one or two that I really liked. And the one that was the most awesome was the Afterburner. So why don't you tell everybody what the Afterburner is?
Well, thank you for that great introduction, Jason. So what we're doing with Afterburner is after the companies have gone through this amazing application process, they've competed, we have several winners that have their prototypes and MVPs, we're going to take those startups and we're going to work with them for 60 or 90 days, and we're going to give them weekly milestones. So if there's one thing that I've really been able to sink my teeth into over the last couple of years, it's getting like real world results with early stage startups. So how do you get your first customer, for example? How do you get your first 100 users? How do you find, how do you validate investor interest, if not necessarily get your first investor? And so each company is going to be a little different, but we're going to be working with them closely during the Afterburner program to make sure that every single week they have a meaningful milestone of what to do next. So many times I've seen companies that I've mentored with accelerators, or I've seen startups out in the wild where they get caught up in this idea of the perfect pitch deck or raising the right money with the right investor. And when you do that, sometimes you get caught up in vanity metrics and presenting numbers in a different way instead of creating traction. And what we're going to do with Afterburner is every single week we're going to go, how did we create traction this week? Okay, how are we going to do it better next week? And what you're going to see at the end of the Afterburner is real startups.
That's right.
Not just presentations.
And Josh is also going to be helping with curation, starting with the very first phase. That means that after our deadline tomorrow, and after he takes a nice day off to celebrate our nation's independence,
Woo! Freedom.
He is going to work all day on Sunday, maybe starting Monday. And he's going to start curating all the applicants. He's going to pick A versus B. A is going to make it, B is not. It's going to be a very simple criteria there. The group of A we're going to get into the weeds with. And one of the first things we're going to do once we announce that list is we're going to give everybody in group A an achievable task and a very short deadline of about 10 days.
That sounds like homework.
Yes, it's startup homework. We're going to basically, we want to find out from that group who can hustle.
That's
who can be resourceful.
Yeah, the people, and I've seen this again and again, and in earlier time in my life, I was guilty of it. The people that make the best presentations are not necessarily the people that are ready to actually do the work. And by giving this homework assignment, I think that we can allow people that aren't necessarily comfortable, like public speaking, they aren't necessarily comfortable under pressure, like in the limelight, but they want to do the work every day, they're passionate about their industry. We're going to allow for those types of people to really thrive, and that's something that the traditional presentation, contest, format doesn't really account for. So I'm excited about that change.
Those will be achievable tasks that any startup is going to need to do.
Yes.
There'll be things that anybody with a little bit of scratch in their pocket can accomplish.
Yeah.
I thought of one today.
Oh, awesome. You want to talk about it? Or?
Yeah. How about design a logo?
I like that.
Get a logo done.
Yeah.
I mean, you can find freelance graphic artists all over the place. You can find them on Fiverr.
Yep.
You can find them on various kind of logo sites that are offshore. They're cheap.
You know what I like about that so much? Because the homework assignments are, yes, they go into our grading of the entire process and picking the applicants, but we're not picking winners at the homework stage. It's just, did you do the homework? So what I really like about logo is we're going to, anyone who doesn't turn in a logo, if that's the one we're doing, if that time period, which I like, you're out.
Yep.
But you could, and you would get through. You could take a piece of paper, and you're not a creative arts major, and you could draw like a smiley face with like a heart around it, and you attempted a logo. Like, you did it, right? But just that breakdown of your ego and the idea that you have to wait until it's perfect and, okay, this is what the requirement is. All right, we're going to get it. That idea is great. And, hey, some people are going to come out with world-class logos for sure, and that's what you should strive for. But the biggest differentiator is, did you do it?
I'm glad you are drinking out of this cup today, because this is the throwback Code Authority cup. And what is on there is, I'm going to have to get closer since we were in tiny mode. If this does not look in focus, forgive me, but this right here is the really crappy 2000 era Code Authority logo from the first time I had it designed by a pro, which was really just some kid offshore, I think. And there you go, Code Authority, circa 2004. It's much better now. Anyway, that's enough about logos. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so I'm going to take just a minute to talk about Code Authority. We are a team of technology software developers and consultants. This is our whole team acting the fool for a picture.
It's a very natural photo.
Highly staged.
It's what the
this is not what goes on every single day. When
any given Tuesday.
But for some reason, we thought that was a good idea. These are the core competencies and types of services that we offer. We are a dev shop. That's what we are. And we build new things. And you can hire us to build things that are great and that change your business, scale it, transform it, or we can build your application startup platform if you have funding. If you don't have funding, well, you have to apply for CodeLaunch. What is CodeLaunch? Well, it is an annual tech startup expo where angels, developers, and startup founders collide in a space where companies are launched.
It's really fancy.
I made that up about 3 years ago. And what it is okay, it says there's an attendees goal of 1,000. We've actually, I need to update this slide.
Socially distanced.
We have decided that
we've socially distanced that goal.
We will not allow more than 500 people into CodeLaunch this year. And we're going to talk about that in a minute, some of the things that we're changing to make CodeLaunch a healthy and safe place to be. Mm-hmm. But this is our 8th year to do this. There's some exciting news in the future about CodeLaunch. I think we're going to have to stop putting a number by them because they will be happening frequently. Yep. And it's on September 10th right now. Right now, September 10th, which is more than 2 months away. Yes, things need to calm down by then for it to happen. But we have some backup plans and some mitigation to that we can take, plan B and plan C.
Yep.
We're not even going to worry about those until it's time to worry about those.
This is not competitive tango dancing. We can do tech stuff and stay 6 feet apart from each other pretty easily.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
And last year, the finalists that were at our event received over $120,000 collectively in free services, everything from legal, graphic design, all the software development from the pro teams, digital marketing campaigns.
When you say free, you mean you took some of their company, right?
Nope.
Completely free?
Yep, totally free.
I don't think people understand that enough. Like, no one's doing that. It's incredible.
Yeah, we don't take equity, and it doesn't cost anything. And that's the way it's going to be as long as I am running it. And as long as, there's not a money prize.
Yep.
I would feel better about letting people pay $20 to apply if there was a $25,000 check at the end.
Yeah.
I started this when I didn't have $1 to invest in startups. I only had great people that know how to build great things.
Yep.
And so I had to give services, and I decided that's a seed service. I'm going to provide you a seed service.
That's why Jason's successful, and that's the definition of a founder's mindset. Like, it's like, okay, I don't have this pile of money. I'm not going to wait for it to get started. I'm going to figure out what I have around me, and I'm going to put that together until we have something that's beautiful. So that's great.
Fake it till you make it. That's another way of saying that.
Ah,
or hustle
Hustle
and
till
be
you bustle.
ingenuitive.
Hustle till you bustle. Who is Gamora?
Actually, who is Improving? You might be wondering who Improving is. Improving was one of our pro hackathon partners the last 2 code launches, and since that last event, Code Authority, CodeLaunch, and Improving have merged. We are now one family, and I now have 8 other technology, software development, consulting offices, and a big organization who supports Code Authority and CodeLaunch. And that team is helping us produce this event. And I am very confident, as long as the public sentiment allows us to have the event, that's going to be a huge success, and that the future of CodeLaunch is immensely bright because of my new partners at Improving, who believe in the core values and the close alignment that CodeLaunch has with conscious capitalism. So, back to CodeLaunch 8.
The Ocho.
I put this slide in there because I want to thank UNT at Frisco, specifically Dean Dr. Wes Randall. He is my champion at UNT. He is my ally. He believes in CodeLaunch as well, and he helped me get approval for UNT to stay on board when the going got tough in the last couple of months.
And everyone's had to make adjustments.
And I also want to thank the engineering school. The engineering school, it got behind it as well, and so we have a tight partnership, and I love UNT at Frisco. They are the most forward-thinking university presence in North Texas. Okay, we better talk about this before we get too far, because we don't want people to think we're crazy. We have implemented a list, which is a working list. It will get longer than this, but these are some of the things that we are going to do. I thought of one this morning when I was at the gym, so I'll talk about it in a second. But
Okay.
you know what? I'm going to let you read those off.
All right, guys.
Can you read that small?
Yes, I can. I don't have my context there, but I can do it. All right, guys. So we're taking several CodeLaunch health and safety measures because community safety is at the utmost importance here at CodeLaunch. Some of the things we're doing, which Jason already mentioned, is we're limiting it to 500 attendees, which is less than 10% of the capacity at, it's still Dr. Pepper Arena, right?
No, they changed the name to Comerica Center Arena.
Comerica Center Arena, formerly Dr. Pepper Arena.
Formerly Dr. Pepper Arena.
Yeah.
Pretty soon, CodeLaunch Arena.
CodeLaunch Arena. They have hockey games there, so we can definitely fit 500 people. We're going to have more than 10 sanitation stations, complimentary masks, glove stations, socially distanced seating. There'll be bar and food staff that are masked and gloved. There'll be a one-way exhibit hall traffic, so there'll be a circular flow, so you don't have people breathing on each other and running up on each other. We're going to temperature read at check-in. Man, there's still more to go, Jason. Socially distanced exhibitors, and then finally individually wrapped hors d'oeuvres.
That word's hard to say, isn't it?
It's very hard to read.
It's hard to read. Mm-hmm.
I think it's just hors d'oeuvres.
It's hors d'oeuvres.
All right, if someone wants to correct me in chat, I think I got it.
It looks like something that you can't say on TV.
I had a confidence issue after just 1 cup of coffee. 3 cups of coffee, I would have been like, Horace d'Orvers, and I would have said it really confidently.
Yes, and so I want everybody to know we are going to have less exhibitors this year because we have to create some more space, and that's fine with us. And that we are looking for a CodeLaunch health and safety sponsor.
Okay.
Because these changes are going to cost some additional money that we didn't plan for, and we've never made any money on CodeLaunch to start with. And so right now it's a really difficult time for us to invest in this, knowing that business has been so hard on everybody, including us. And this is going to, these measures are necessary if we're going to have it, and it's going to cost more. So if you are affiliated in any way with some kind of health, safety.
Cornbread Hustle's cleaning service. Have you talked to Sherry yet?
I haven't talked to her yet, but
She's been doing some stuff on the cleaning side. We'll get some more names together.
It would there would be some cost involved, but we certainly need. I was on the phone with the CEO of Baylor Scott and White.
Oh, it's pretty big.
And asked him, and he said I would do it, but we are our business is under a lot of challenge right now. We're worried about logistics and execution of our main focus.
I want to pause that for a second. A lot of people would have just been like, hey, we're going to take a break from, CodeLaunch this year. But Jason's a real believer in it. He understands the importance, like, at tremendous personal, energy, time, cost. He was like, we're still going to do this, which is why I believe in the guy and I believe in the event. And I'm here, my salary was dramatically cut to zero. It was zero before. It was zero the whole time. But
well, thank you, Josh. I really do believe in it, and I gain a lot of energy from it. It's like the force to me. It's from where I gather all of my go get it.
And it's a conduit for my energy that would normally be wasted on people at open mics. Yeah,
Josh is a stand-up comic. Actually, you guys should go check him out. He has many different capabilities.
Pretty funny.
So why did we create CodeLaunch? Well, I'm not going to read that. You can read that.
Words.
It was because I noticed that we were being approached at our conference room table way back in the middle ages of Code Authority, like 2010, 11, 12, by a lot of startups that were trying to hire us after they had made some kind of terrible, tragic technology build spending decision.
Yep.
They took way too long to recover from that, and then were trying to find a new vendor. And there was a few classic things that would always happen. One of them was that they would hire a moonlighter that told them they could build their app for $10,000. The moonlighter put about $20,000 worth of services into it, only got paid for 10. There was a lot more to go. Everybody got mad at each other. Moonlighter stops answering his phone, won't give the source code. And then there's like offshore mistakes, and there's a bunch of bad mistakes. So we said, let's try to find these startups before they make this mistake, get them on the right path engineering-wise and product development-wise, and then elevate the community at the same time and give my own team something fun and energetic to work on once a year.
I'll do a Y code launch. Can I do a Y code launch? Because this is why I'm here, and this is why so many people should get excited about this, and it's only going to get bigger. When you look at the startup scene, right, and you look at the people that get accepted to a Y Combinator, you look at the people that are getting institutional capital, these are great people. These are people with MBAs. These are people that went to Ivy League schools. They are going to be successful whether they get into YC or not. But all across the country, you have people that don't come from those traditional backgrounds. You have people that didn't go to a Princeton. You have people from disadvantaged communities. And they don't have the structure in place where they can ask their rich uncle, hey, how did you build your company? They don't have the structures in place where they can ask their MBA professor for introductions to CEOs for first customers. So having a democratized process like this that starts at the very beginning, CodeLaunch starts at the idea stage. We're not taking established companies where someone was able to put $300,000, $400,000 into getting off the ground and it's losing money, but the VCs go, oh, this is a big market. We can afford to lose money with them. This is about ideas, which is the absolute beginning. And it's saying, hey, if you have an idea and you're willing to do the work, all the other stuff doesn't matter. We're not cutting anyone out because of where they went to college. We're not cutting anyone out because of the color of their skin or their last name. We're saying if you have an idea and you're willing to do the work and you're anywhere. We had, how many countries did people apply from last year?
I think there's a slide we're going to talk about where we're at right now.
There's a slide coming up, but it's dozens, right? It's dozens of countries.
I think it's already over 20 right now.
Over 20 countries, right? So like that is something that every man, woman, child should get excited about. And that
one of them's from Tanzania.
Tanzania. One of them is from a fictional place.
That is a real place. Mongolia also got one from Mongolia.
Okay. Look at that. Like that's exciting. Everyone should go, wow, that's great. How do we build that? How do we grow that? Yes, that is why CodeLaunch. Why CodeLaunch? Because people everywhere need help going from idea to execution, and there's not enough help there.
All right. So here's a little slide that has some statistics about the history of the event. So this will be the 8th event. Our startups have gone on to raise $4.5 million that we know about.
That's pretty big.
I still haven't got the number from Caracorder, who was last year's finalist and completed a round. I still haven't got the number from 3G Strong, last year's winner that just completed a round. So I think sometimes people don't want to share that, but this is what I know.
Can I put a little pin note on that 4.5 million plus number, right? This is idea stage companies. Like, that would be an impressive number.
After they've left CodeLaunch.
Yes.
And they've been selected as a finalist.
Yes.
Now they're not really idea stage. Now they have a little code.
But they came at
they've achieved something.
They came in at a piece of paper and an idea.
But they came in pretty close to that.
That's as early as you can get. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
If you were a accelerator, that wouldn't be a terrible amount of money for 8 years for the number of finalists.
And some of them, had to go and toil for a year, trying to figure out how to get the first round. And it's not always, here's $1 million.
Yep.
It's sometimes here's 50,000, and then they work their butts off for 9 months, and then that earns them a more sophisticated investment from a more sophisticated investor. And some of them have gone on to multiple rounds, and that's why the number is 4.5 million. 750,000 is the amount of services that if we just add all the services that we ever gave to anybody, it's about 750K, and that's all the vendors plus our software development team. Yeah. Let me take a minute to talk about the first ever CodeLaunch winner, Sherry Garcia. In 2013, she won CodeLaunch 1. When I didn't even know if there was ever going to be a 2, it was just CodeLaunch. And back then it worked a little different. We would pick the winner, and then after the event, we would assign them a team, and we would try to build their product. That was biting off more than we could chew. I didn't realize it at the time, but it worked out really good that year. And we started her product in like October. We had the event in late August. And then we were done with it by February. And I said, hey, John, how many hours and how much value did it cost? And I wasn't really paying attention to the project because John was managing it. And he goes, oh, we provided them the equivalent of $125,000 in software development services.
Ruh-roh.
And I went, oh my gosh, really? So, we built her entire product, like complete MVP with polish. Mm-hmm. That's an unsustainable model, but we were glad we did it. Somehow we survived, and eventually she sold that product to an investor.
That's incredible.
And she had an exit. Her and the other groups that we've actually built software for adds up to 21 different startups. Those are the ones that have actually gotten software development teams. There's been a lot of other ones that have been finalists, so the group is probably more like 80 in overall.
Yeah.
And then we have 5.5 million in revenue on those products. And then this year, last year was 120,000 just in last year's event. I expect about the same or a little more this year.
That's awesome.
CodeLaunch has been covered in some cool news. We get coverage every year from local media. This year, we would really like D Innovates to cover it.
Okay.
Why doesn't D Innovates cover this?
I don't know.
We invite them every year.
I don't
We send them a press pass and free.
Maybe Frisco's too far. They don't consider it Dallas.
Maybe. Why doesn't
just spitball in here.
Dallas Business Journal cover it?
Too old.
Are they actually interested in news, or do they just put out lists?
Are we ragging on people? Can I?
I'm calling out. This isn't CodeLaunch 2, buddy.
Woof, 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 woof.
I didn't do this when it was me and 40 people in a room that was too hot.
I would say that the reason that those companies aren't covering it is because they're too busy, laying off people and not selling newspapers or whatever.
Well, I was talking about last year and the year before. But anyway, I invite you, whoever you are, if you're in media, if you have any reach at all, any sort of following, any readers, anything, I will roll out the red carpet for you at CodeLaunch 8.
Hey, I'm just gonna text you right now. We should have this on entrepreneur.com.
You don't have to text me. I'm sitting right here.
But I'll forget. Entrepreneur.com.
Entrepreneur.com.
Yeah.
Somebody remind Stram about entrepreneur.com.
I texted it to you.
Oh wow! Look at all the questions we have. I can't wait to go over there and read those.
I've been responding to people live.
So here's reasons why you should become a sponsor, and we do need more sponsors this year. Some of the groups that have been able to pay to be an exhibitor at the expo last year are like holding back and waiting to see if there's really going to be an event and not being able to commit. So I need groups that want to commit to this. If you want to be affiliated with the great conscious capitalism values of CodeLaunch, please reach out to me. Like I said, we need a health and safety sponsor. We do have most of our seed sponsors lined up already, so we're good there. I think that we're going to need some software development teams.
Mm-hmm.
So watch out in the future. There could be some calls for some interesting tactics I'm going to take on that. But for now, I'm going to not make that official. We do need experienced and notable entrepreneurs on the judging panel.
Yep.
I'm working on a few really great high-profile judges right now, and I've gotten soft commits, but I can't publish their names yet because they're making sure that their schedules are going to align. And if you're just in the startup space, like maybe you produce an event like this, I love to make community partner relationships with those types of groups. So we have a great community partner this year named Startup Bootcamp. And those guys are great. They put on education for startups, like soup to nuts. This is what you're going to need to know to be a successful startup. And they're not paying us, and we're not paying them, but we're helping each other.
Yep.
And that's called community sponsorship. So community partners are other brands in the startup space that have reach and that can tell their groups about CodeLaunch, and we can do
Get
the same.
excited, join the cause. We're having a lot of fun over here.
So what does it mean? You skip it?
Yeah.
Okay, skip that one. Here's a bunch of last year's partners and sponsors.
Yep. It's a great list.
Let me tell you who's already back on this. UNT's back.
Boom.
Social Media Torch is back.
Boom. I see Capital Factory in there.
Paperlight is back.
Boom.
Capital Factory is back.
Boom.
KVGI Radio I don't think exists anymore.
We got to get New Chip on there too.
New Chip is going to be back. I mean, they're going to be on for the first time. This was last year's.
Didn't you want to tell the New Chip story, or you want to do it later?
Yeah, New Chip is a seed. Is a VC.
Yeah.
Right. Venture
Real,
capital.
very real
Full-blown VC accelerator.
$100 million
Based
fund.
in Austin.
Yes.
And you know what I found out yesterday?
What?
When I had my call with New Chip about being I found out the guy that called me, his name was Austin Evans.
Uh-huh.
Austin Evans was a semifinalist in CodeLaunch last year and did not have any affiliation with New Chip or didn't even know about it at that time.
That's awesome, dude.
And so he already knew about the process. He was Houston-based at the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes I will invite semifinalists that we do not select for the finalists. I'll invite them to have an expo table.
Mm-hmm.
And he came up from Houston and had an expo table and had a really great experience. And so when they found out that we were going to try to talk, and he was with this new VC firm, New Chip, he was like, I want to do the call.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
Austin Evans, good guy, and hopefully New Chip will be a partner with ours, with us or a sponsor soon.
Yep.
Okay, this goes over some of the benefits.
We did
This is Prince, last year's youth finalist.
That kid was crazy.
Yeah, he's great, right?
That kid made me want to have kids. I was like, I need kids.
That kid has already received a full ride at UNT.
Oh man, I believe it. That's like LeBron's kid, like, but the startup version of it. You're like, okay, whatever he's doing, like, I just want to bet on it. I think they offered a scholarship to LeBron's kid when he was like 10.
Okay, so here's some sponsorship levels. You know, these are working figures. I can work with you.
Yeah, just talk to us.
If you'll sponsor at the $1,500 level, I will create another table and let you put a sponsor on that table. I mean, a startup, anybody.
Yes.
So that's good if you are interested in getting involved and you have another startup that you want to help or uplift. There you go. I already covered this, didn't I? Social media.
Who
Torch.
edited this deck?
Well, I'm kind of busy. The future of CodeLaunch.
Let's talk about the future, man. This is exciting.
The future of CodeLaunch is because of our partners with Improving.
Yep.
And Improving has offices in many of the cities that you see right here. And Improving and I want to take CodeLaunch on the road. So we are definitely going to do that. And hopefully this dumb pandemic stuff is all calmed down by Q1 2021, and CodeLaunch will happen in a new city. And then in Q2, another new city.
Yep.
And then in Q3, it'll come back to DFW. And then in Q4, another new city.
Yep.
And then in 2022, we're going to do the same thing, but go to new cities.
This thing already works, and it's great, and it's crazy that we're not sharing it with the rest of the localities of the world. I mean, we already said 20 countries. Tanzania, fictional countries are already joining CodeLaunch, but we want the entirety of America to get in on it. So I'm very excited about going on the road.
That
bank my
you'll be really excited because that is the actual RV that we are going to acquire.
Is it?
And we're going to skin it just like that.
Oh,
and
yes.
We're gonna pull up next to the biggest accelerator and just start honking our horn. CodeLaunch is here.
I can stay here longer than you can tolerate having me here.
We're here, Columbus.
We're here. We have no fear of traditional business models. Get used to it.
We're here to disrupt.
We're here. We're near.
So,
progress.
What do you need to know right now? You need to know that the deadline is tomorrow.
Yes.
And it's tomorrow at midnight. So, I have had people start filling out the application, and sometimes they get really like, oh, I have to write every answer in perfectly.
Yep.
And then they wait too long.
I encourage you to do it ugly, but get it in, because you can always like submit it with something like I'm not encouraging you to do a bad application, but at this point, if you're listening to this, you got what, 48 hours or something like that? 2 days?
37. What's 1 day plus 12 hours? 36 hours.
You got 36 hours. So if you're listening right now and you're on the fence and the question is, are you going to apply or not, go ahead and cheat the system a little bit. You know, the thing that you're like, I don't know how to answer that, just put, Josh said I could cheat the system. Get the application in, and then I'll email you like on Sunday, and I'll be like, hey, just give me this to finish it.
Now, what do you need to apply? That's a good question. You, first of all, if you're just now thinking of your idea, it's too late because you're not going to get your deck together and a set of mock-ups together. You need a deck and some mock-ups.
Yeah.
I feel like those are the first two things that a genuine startup group with intent on executing will have and be able to create on their own. So we do require that.
You need to believe in it, right? This can't just be something where you're like at a bar, you're telling a story, right? This is not throwing spaghetti at a wall. Like, if there is something that you think about in the shower, if there's something that you think about when you're at your job and you're like, man, I wish I was doing this other thing, and you've been thinking about it for a while, go ahead and write it down. Like, you can write it down. You can make a Google Slides deck. Like, if it really is your passion, you need to believe in it before you ask us to believe in it. But if you believe in it, go ahead and get that application in, please.
Now, yesterday I did a live stream at 3 o'clock. To all of you who watched that, I apologize for the audio problem. We had to learn how to configure our OBS to process streaming through the graphics card and not the processor. And we didn't know that on the listening side, the audio was stuttering.
Yeah.
But if you can fight through that, about 15 minutes in, I showed the 2018 winners deck.
Oh, cool.
And then I also showed last year's winners mock-ups.
Nice.
And I think it illuminates how they looked nice, but they weren't magical. There wasn't like fairy dust on those that made them win. And it wasn't because the founders obsessed and perfected them for months. They just were effective at explaining the idea and showing that the founders had really invested some time and sweat into it to get those mock-ups and their pitch deck right. So that is the last slide. Now I'm going to switch this back, and we're just going to free-for-all. We're going to see if we can go over here and answer some Q&A. What do you think?
Brian is asking the first question, which is, what is our backup plan if, you know...
You can read the questions?
On my phone, yeah. Okay.
Is he texting them to you?
No. They're on the LinkedIn Live. I just have LinkedIn.
You can see the questions?
On my phone.
Technology. I was trying to read them over here, and I was like, uh-oh, the font's too small.
Anyway, what is our backup plan if
backup plan.
In a universe where the, murder hornets come back and and it's not safe for people to congregate? What is our virtual backup plan?
Okay, let's talk about murder hornets for a second.
Okay. I think that we should have finished it. It was a hanging plot thread for 2020.
I was using the Nextdoor app.
Okay.
By the way, a source of high comedy.
Okay.
The Nextdoor app. Have you ever used it?
I think it's the new Craigslist, right?
It is.
So that goes with
pretty close to that.
Okay. All right.
And it's full of hokey posts by little old ladies.
Karens, I think is
a lot of Karens.
A lot of Karens.
Serious Karen action on there. And what I saw yesterday was a lady freaking out about the murder hornet that she saw.
The murder hornet. It's murder hornets.
It was like the topic was murder hornets are already here.
But it's got to be hornets. It can't be I saw a murder hornet. It doesn't become a murder hornet until it's hornets. Once they group up, then it's where it's a murder.
And it was not that. It was an average garden variety cicada killer.
Okay.
Which is a large-looking, ugly-looking wasp.
Yeah. That's a lot to learn about hornets.
It's terrifying looking, but
CodeLaunch.
They don't sting people. They go around trying to find cicadas that are on trees, making that noise.
But again,
they murder those.
But again, even if it was one murder hornet, there's no such thing as one murder hornet. One hornet can't kill you. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a biologist. Maybe if you're allergic to murder hornets, one murder hornet could kill you.
So plan B. I think that I'm planning to have an event on September 10th.
Yes.
And I'm planning how to make that event safe and what we have to do to make it so people can come to the event and startups can come and try to win the event. And after it's over, you can go meet them and talk to them and connect with them. And you can have a little refreshments and there's music and all the usual things at CodeLaunch. That said, I am also a realist. Mm-hmm. And if the event was 10 days from now, I would go to plan B.
Yep.
Luckily, it's like 70 days from now. So plan B, there's actually a plan B and a plan C. There's one plan that is, okay, we're just going to do a very simple virtual version of this for one startup. Yep. We're sorry we can't help all four. We'll still pick the ones we like the best and promote them and put them out there. But we'll do a series of virtual interactions with one.
Yep.
But that's not the one that I prefer. I think I prefer actually if we have to, right before once we've announced the finalists.
Yep.
Instead of letting them book travel at that time, we will push it back to Q4. It's possible that we could do that. I'm still waiting to find out if that is feasible with all the parties that are involved, specifically the arena.
Okay.
So there's a plan B and a plan C, but we're going ahead with plan A until time has run out to wait for the right conditions. Thank you for that question.
You're welcome. Anyone else have questions? Get more questions in.
Any more questions?
Otherwise, I'm going to freestyle.
Fire them at us.
Work on some material.
He's going to do stand-up comedy if no one asks a question.
That's a threat.
It's not that good, guys.
It's pretty
Please
bad.
ask a question and
pretty
spare
bad.
us.
I'll just ask some questions. Jason, what is your favorite startup that has come through or concept that has come through CodeLaunch so far?
Wow, that is a good one. I'm going to say my criteria for favorite is most business success.
Okay. Jason, what is the startup that is the biggest success story from CodeLaunch so far? So you don't have to choose your children.
It's a tie. It's a tie between the...
But if you only could do one, you're not running for Congress.
I'll tell you the tie, and then I'll break the tie.
Okay.
The tie is the 2016 did not win the overall, but won judges' most financial potential, and also won judges' best pitch.
Okay.
Was a group called Pros Rent.
Pros Rent, yeah.
And the founder was John Clark. They went on to succeed at a very high level. They now have a product that's in full-blown, scalable, national launch ready product. It's been 4 years, and they've been slowly, grinding it out. They raised funding to get to each level they had to get. They attracted a team. They now have employees. They have a place of business. They have customers. They have revenue. They have investors. And we were going to have their full-blown national launch party in April.
Yep.
And we were going to host it. It was going to be called the CodeLaunch Pros Rent Hard Launch Party.
Okay.
And, of course,
it's a great name.
The arena, the venue had to cancel it. In April, we were all, literally quarantined anyway. So It was impossible to have it. It got moved to June, but then we got into June, and June still isn't safe to have it, so now it's punted indefinitely.
Yeah.
But eventually there's going to be a really fun event called the CodeLaunch Pros Rent Hard Launch Party.
Okay.
And that'll be sometime when things calm down. But that's tied with the 2018 overall winner, KidStrong. So
Ooh, yeah,
KidStrong
great company.
is like a gym that teaches physical fitness, but also mental fitness to children, like age 4 to 8 or 9. And with parents and instructors involved in the process. And it has a very specific and creative curriculum and methodology. And they had one store, but they had no technical way to deliver their content to their customers. And they needed an app.
Mm-hmm.
So KidStrong has gone on to raise an immense amount of funding. And last I heard, they had 20 stores in development. And they launched that app, and during the pandemic, they've been able to deliver the KidStrong curriculum to their students.
That ties in really well to
Virtually.
our next question, which is coming from Dylan Culpepper. Shout out to Dylan.
Dylan, what's up, man?
What industries do y'all, he didn't use an apostrophe, but I'm going to let it slide. I'm not going to call him out for that syntax on LinkedIn. You really should use that apostrophe when you say y'all on LinkedIn. What industries do y'all see trending for startup software this year? That's an excellent question, and mediocre punctuation, Dylan. But like, I think that we've just had, I think it was, I read the article, it's like the best quarter in like the stock market or something like that, like a tied for a record for the best quarter for the stock market. The reality is COVID has created this immense transfer of wealth, and it's really changed the deck of how people do business. I remember, as a guy who's worked primarily remote on most of his projects in some way, shape, or form for the last 6 years, it wasn't a big shift for me, but all of these companies, no remote, no, must be on location. COVID hits, now suddenly Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies, remote okay. That's massive. So just right there, now you're looking at companies like Zoom, right? Any startup that is ancillary to facilitating remote work, you know, Asana, any kind of project management software, Slack, right? So in terms of like what the industries are, look at where the money is changing, right? In my neighborhood, there's people walking, like just walking. They're just going for walks. Like going for a walk has become a pastime. So like I'm not sitting here like this is fast money saying buy Fitbit, right? But like what are the things that go with walking? Walking shoes suddenly make a lot of sense. But
Dylan was asking what startups, though.
I'm not going to tell him this is the startup. He asked what industries. I'm saying this is how you pick the industry.
I'll add this.
All right, okay. Tell us what 3 stocks.
I don't look at
Buy.
I don't look at the CodeLaunch applications in detail to the extent that I know them until after the deadline.
Yeah.
But I do have to check them and count them. Like I did go through and count the cities and countries and states that have applied already. In the process of doing that, I pick up a little bit about what they're about because they have names and there's just a brief description. Not even looking at their decks, just the high-level metadata. And there is a bunch of ideas that I can tell have come from this change that has happened.
Yes.
And I don't know, exactly.
We need more
new forms of teledoc. I saw some of that in there.
Yeah, in terms of the industries, Dylan, like, mental health is at all-time high crisis right now. People are being socially distanced, so like things that help people feel a sense of community, like that's a massive industry. When I was trying to talk about the shoes earlier, walking shoes selling through the roof. Bicycles are selling through the roof. It's hard to get a bicycle now because people are going back outside. Basketball shoes aren't selling because people can't play, right? So like look at the different ways that people are spending money and go, what is a temporary change that you could still take advantage of right now, but what is going to be changed about the way society moves forward? And those are the industries. And you see, this is a great time to be in tech. Like, pandemic aside, like it's a horrible situation.
I know Dylan. Dylan used to work here.
Oh, what's up, Dylan?
Dylan, I'm surprised you're not a part of a startup by now. Dylan is a very startup kind of guy.
Dylan, what are you scared of is what
Yeah, he needs Dylan. I need to see you in a startup soon.
Get in a startup.
Maybe
man.
he already is. I don't keep up with everybody.
Add me on LinkedIn, Dylan. I'll
He's
help
been
you.
here a few years,
I'll
but
edit your grammar.
shout out to Dylan and his dad, who's a great business leader here in Frisco.
Question from Josh Sams, former friend of mine, former business associate. Love the talk radio format, guys. Jason, what's something you see in successful teams that implicate the ultimate success of the product, or even whether something cohesive gets built? What's something that you look for in the teams that eventually go on that are successful?
Ambition and execution. That's pretty simple.
Yeah.
And also, sometimes you can have this like never stop believing in yourself dream and execution plan, but you can tell that
they're not going to pivot.
They don't really have. They're just they're doing it all alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't really have a full team spec'd out. So I like it when a startup has a team.
Yeah.
And they're like, this person on their slide deck, it'll say, this is our team. And on one slide, and it'll say, this guy has this credibility and did this amazing work in technology the last 20 years.
Yep.
This guy was in this other cool startup and put in there, it was a great marketer for that startup.
Yep.
The founder has this credibility in this certain space that is maybe similar or related to the startup space that they're targeting. So that makes a big factor. And also, I like startups that have other networks they're going to leverage.
Yep.
Like we're going to start this food-based thing, and my cousin is Teresa Hines.
Yep. Well, that's subject matter expertise, right? Like you already know something about the vertical.
Yeah, and it's also like sometimes it's not what you know or how good your startup idea is. It's who you know.
I will say that goes back to like the Bible of, if I'm the startup evangelist, that goes back to the Bible, first book of Joshua, chapter 1, because my name is Joshua, not the actual. But it's all about identifying what stage you're at and then getting to the next stage as fast as possible. So I call it 6 stages. Idea is the first one. Vision, team, product, company, exit, right? Idea is when it's abstract. Vision is when everyone knows where you're going, and that's the time to build a team. So what Jason was saying is when you see a team deck and it's not just one person, that means that a second, a third, a fourth person also believe in the vision.
And the founder.
And it's social validation, right? And then this just piles on. It's compound interest. That first moment that you get a customer, that is social validation. A customer is not your mother, right? But that's social validation. The first moment that you get an investor, that's social validation. And people like to bet on winners. Startups is not like the underdog stories are nice, but people like the companies with momentum. And so you have to ask yourself, and that's what we're doing with the Afterburner program, how do I create momentum today? How do I create momentum this week?
Well, we got about 12 minutes left, so we're going to have to keep going.
We need more
We're going to go all the way to 1 o'clock, and then I have a call I have to get on.
My good friend, Joshua Sams, he was offended that I said former work associate. He's a former friend. He's a good guy. He's my good friend.
Okay, well, keep firing your questions at us, people. Let's think. What else can I talk about? Tanzania is a real country.
We have another question from the Tanzanian delegate.
Oh, good.
Oh, no, I was joking.
Oh,
it's not a real country. Come on, don't try to prank me.
On yesterday's choppy audio live stream, I actually put a shape of Tanzania on one of the slides, and I challenged to guess what state what that was.
Tanzania or Planzania?
It's like a little...
Because it's a conspiracy. It's Planzania.
No,
you heard it here first. Planzania.
Last year's international finalist.
It's the Geography Association.
Was a founder named Ricardo, and he was from Portugal, and his startup is called Materio, Matereo. Google it and check it out. They are still going and blowing, and they're doing well. They received a grant from the EU. There's like some kind of EU startup grant thing that goes out, and
well, they're not spending it on peacekeeping forces.
We were gonna let him do his pitch remotely because we figured any international finalist would just want to do it remote.
Yeah.
And he goes, can I come to CodeLaunch?
Yeah.
I was like, really? Yes, you can. So if you look at the website, you'll see pictures of Ricardo, who was here from CodeLaunch. I mean,
His
from
was
Portugal for
something-
a whole week last
What
week.
was this? It was like a vibration tech? Something
It's
like that? Earthquake detector?
data science that measures the vibration patterns over bridges
Yeah.
and identifies structural failures before they happen.
Basically precog. So it was a
Yeah.
psychic math.
And so they have some physical technology and some software, and they're rendering these. So as long as they capture immense amount of data over long term,
Yeah.
you can see
So
like
cool.
ripples that start to like change, and
So cool.
they can go and inspect the bridge and find something before it falls down while you're driving over it.
Every time I drive over a bridge, I pray that there's a psychic that is predicting when it's going to collapse. So
Well,
we need more of that.
We need more
startup.
material. We need material to go viral.
All right.
Worldwide.
Well, if we, I'll say this: if anyone has ever been to Tanzania, go ahead and jump in the comment section. But you can't. I don't know a single person from Tanzania. It can't be real.
It's a good thing everyone that's watching this has Google.
Yeah. Oh, just because
Because,
it's on the internet, it's true.
They are laughing at you right now, buddy.
I don't think anyone's laughing at me. I think we're opening up, and people are gonna. Hey, while you're googling things, look into some of that great information on how flat the Earth is. It'll blow your mind.
So you're gonna be curating
Yep.
the first round quarterfinalists
Yep.
on Monday.
Doing homework assignments.
We're gonna be extracting all of the startup applications and their files associated, and delivering those to you in a secure fashion.
Nice.
And I am gonna be on my annual family vacation next week.
I hope you enjoy it.
I'm going to Florida as long as they let me in the state.
Ooh, is that possible that you might not? Is that a thing?
It's not right now, but I think there's some places like New Jersey and Connecticut and dumb places like that won't let anybody from Texas in their state.
I saw I think it was the EU or some place in Europe, if it wasn't the EU, was not allowing Americans to travel.
Puerto Rico won't let you in there.
Yeah.
So if you're in Puerto Rico and maybe you're from Puerto Rico,
Yeah.
JP, he's our SEO analyst right over there. He also helps me fix the studio when it's broke.
Yeah.
He is from Puerto Rico, and we were laughing like can't go back.
It's definitely
If you
a real.
wanted to.
Puerto Rico's a real place. I'll vouch
So-
for that. I've seen their Olympic team.
About the same shape as Tanzania.
I have never seen what Tanzanian Olympic athlete can you name? Do
I
they have a
cannot.
water polo team? Do they have a swimmer? It's not a real place. It's the Tasmanian Devil. That's a cartoon.
Tasmania
Are you
is a
telling me
place.
he wasn't a real
in
devil and
Australia.
he wasn't a real animal?
Tanzania is where King Kong is from.
Fictional character. Again, I apologize for my friend Jason. Public school, I think.
And then what else can I tell everybody about CodeLaunch?
We can talk
Right
more
now.
about homework stuff. We can talk about more homework stuff.
Yeah, what's another example of some kind of a challenge that we
We're
can give a
gonna make-
quarterfinalist to get to the semifinals?
We're gonna make you sign up customers or beta users. So like there'll be a little allowance given for different types of products, B2B versus B2C. I'm not gonna make a B2B company get 100 LOIs. That's ridiculous. But maybe the proof of concept for the B2B is 1 LOI versus maybe the B2C company, it's 100 users on their beta page. And they're like, hey, we're not going to be out for a couple more months. We might never come out, but put your email address in. And that's going to give them an opportunity to just hustle up some marketing.
It might be go get a domain and
Yeah. Another one is build
get
a website.
simple placeholder
Yeah.
website.
If you have never
Using
built a
Wix.
website before and you don't have a team and you say, I can't do that, what are you going to do with a fancy $250,000 app that Jason hands you, right? You can't do anything with it. So building that skill set of going, oh, wow, if I have this magical thing that does what I want, how do I tell people about it? And you can hustle it, and we'll teach you. We're not just going to let you drown. That's the whole point of Afterburner. Hey, here's how you get in Facebook groups that allow you to target people that are in your demographic. Hey, here's how you use TikTok to build a large audience. I have personally, 8 or 9 TikTok videos that have over 500,000 views each that I've created in the last 2 months. I guarantee you that I can get you 20,000 views to your target demographic on TikTok.
I accept.
Oh, sure.
Get CodeLaunch at 500,000 views, please.
Do I have your authority to make a TikTok account
Um,
and use my own style of anti-Tanzania humor on it? Because we just shook on live LinkedIn. No, I'll get.
Yes,
yeah,
you have my authority.
All right, yeah, I'll do it. I'll hype it up.
We have to wrap this up because I have to jump on a 1 o'clock call, but I would like to ask everybody who's watched this today a big favor that I need from you. And that is to share this stream and remind your followers that today and tomorrow are the last 2 days to apply to CodeLaunch. If you are an early stage tech startup, apply to CodeLaunch before midnight tomorrow. You can do that on Facebook. You can do it on Twitter. You can do it on LinkedIn. If you go back through our posts, if you don't want to share the video, you can go back through our posts, and there's one that's kind of pink, and it says last week to apply in great big white letters on a bright pink background. Share that one, and then our wording there says it all, and just say check it out. We need the most startups to find out about this as possible. And CodeLaunch is still frighteningly kind of under the radar, still nationally, even though we have some people who apply every year because they found out about it 2-3 years ago, and they make a plan. I can tell they make a plan every year, and they go back to the drawing board, and they come up with something entirely new, and I see the same names.
That's awesome.
So thank you, everybody, for watching our All About CodeLaunch 8 live stream today. This is Jason Taylor, founder of CodeLaunch, signing off, along with my man, Josh Stramiello.
Evangelist extraordinaire.
Goodbye from the CodeLaunch studio for now. Apply before midnight tomorrow. Peace out.
Yeah, there's the caption.
Where's the mouse cursor? I can't see it in this helmet. Oh.